All right, everybody, welcome back to the Midwest Marksman B channel. My name is Andrew, and what you're looking at here inside this case is the KOK multifunction laser rangefinder. Inside the case, you're going to get your charging cable because this is rechargeable, lens cleaning cloth, and then also a user manual. Let's put the case aside. It's a good hardcover case, and it fits everything well without trying to squeeze it in there. Not too bad at all. Now let's go over some of the features. On the back end here, you're going to see that you have your focus adjustment for your image. So left and right, it's going to move very smoothly. This is like a rubberized housing. Eye relief on it, got to be up there pretty tight on top of it, but it does work, and I can get the vignetting to disappear. I just have to like really have my eye personally right up on top of it. Not too big of a deal, especially with this type of rangefinder, which I'm not going to be using in excess of probably 600 yards personally. From there, coming down, you have your charging port. This is Type-C, and it's a very weather-tight seal on this guy, so you just flick that out. Type-C was the future. I think that's pretty important that they went with that, so thank you for choosing something that most of us either have or will have very soon. Then on the side, you can see it does come with a lanyard loop or wristlet kind of carry. I think in the golf application, folks must be doing that a lot, and I see that pretty often. But if you need to attach it to a bag or something, I suppose that's one way you could do it with the included wristlet. Moving to the side. Now this switch over here is something I wasn't sure. I actually looked at it when I first got it, and I said, I don't know what that is. This is for slopes. This is your slope adjustment feature, and it just goes back and forth and toggles if that's something you want to do, especially in like bow hunting. Bow hunting is a place where maybe that would make a really big difference for you. You're sitting up high in a tree somewhere. I suppose in some forms of shooting, that could also be something you'd pay attention to. Most of the time, I'm not going to have to worry a lot about that where I live. But if you're in a place where you're shooting high angle, low angle, look at that. And then of course, golf. Golf is somewhere where that might come into play even more. Okay, moving from there, let's go to the objective end. We're going to look at that. This is the objective end, and inside of here, what you're actually looking at on the top is the objective lens. This is the laser emitter inside of here, and then this is where it receives it. So it shoots a laser out, and then it catches it back here to find out what the distance is. That's the way it works with laser rangefinders generally. On top, go ahead and loosen this up so you can see what's going on top. On top, you have two different buttons. You can see you have your power on and off switch, and then your mode switch for switching between features inside, which we need to take a look at the reticle inside. Let's get this mounted up and take a look at something at some distance. All right, my phone wants to be a little finicky here, but when I press the button, let's go ahead and get a read on this target. And I happen to know that this is 46 yards away. So just reading the edge, we're getting within a half of a yard. And right where I'm standing, it is 46 yards. So very, very close. It's going to give you a practical distance expectation if you're in bow. Even with rimfire and some other things, that half yard difference is not going to make a difference. You can see in the reticle, this is what I'm seeing. So I have my battery, I have the reticle itself, and one thing that you can't see or hear, but I can, is that when it's reading, it gives me a little vibration, gives me a little read, a positive kind of little reminder that it's locked onto a target. And you can see those X marks. Reminds me of like, I don't know, reminds me of like Call of Duty or something. When you hit somebody, it gives you that confirmation that you've made impact. So that gives you a little confirmation, which is nice. It's giving you a live readout of that distance. And if I go through mode, let's go through the modes. So you have some golf features here. Very cool. Let's flip the slope. Slope is off, slope is on. Probably not going to make any difference here where I'm at. Okay, made a slight difference. And We can do incline. And what else do we have? Kilometers an hour. So I'm not going to have application for that for myself, but for some people that feature is going to be really nice to have. So there's your features, there's your readout. Like I said, as long as my eye is right up on it, I can see through it pretty well. And I've got this focus adjust, which for you, the reticle is probably already clear, but for me, I can take it in and out of focus pretty well. And depending on the distance of the target or the reticle, this is going to make some difference for both of them. Let's try that further target. Got a target just a touch further, and let's see if I can lock onto it in frame. Okay, that's accurate. 83 yards. So I think I was pressing it earlier, I was bumping it, and I was reading past it, and it was not actually hitting the metal the way I thought it was. So 83 yards would be, in fact, accurate to the distance. So for your eye, it might be beneficial if you're ranging something rather small like I was. Make sure you rest on a backpack or on a bag, maybe your vehicle, a golf cart, whatever it is that you have to rest it on to get those accurate numbers. It did come back with a true number. I just noticed that I was bouncing beyond it a few times there because of the way that I was probably pressing the button. All right, you can see behind me, I have a tower, and I've used a very specific laser to measure that tower in the past. And I happen to know that that tower is 630 yards from where I'm standing right now. That's 630 yards away. And this laser rangefinder was not able to land on it, even on the satellites or the metal rack on top. I can see decently up there. As far as just an optical tool, it does magnify. When I turn around and I look at that, I can see things at the top that I wouldn't see with my naked eye, and I can see them in much better detail as long as I take the time to focus this. It's not a premium piece of glass the way that you're going to get with binoculars or something like that. And remember, you're running monocular vision instead of binocular vision, and so it's going to have just a little different experience. It's not going to be as immersive as binoculars are. It's a monocular feature, and so you're not going to have the stereopsis, I think. You're not going to get that same effect with a monocular. But as far as gathering information, detail, if you're hunting and you're looking for a good budget option, this is still going to get you a few hundred yards and in. I have successfully locked on and gotten targets at 500 yards with this. I've gotten moving distance targets, and I've seen accurate numbers with that as well at 500 yards. I think that's a little beyond the likely range for something like this. Most of the time, as far as the readout and the time delay, when I put it up to my eye and I make sure it's comfortable and I get that read, it's about, a quarter of a second or something like that. It's very, very fast. I don't feel like I'm waiting long. I can tell when I go to those further targets that are kind of beyond the distance that this is going to be functional at. Not only is it a long read, I might get misreads or errors. And so practically speaking, I think hunting is where this is going to do really well, because most of us are not taking shots at 700, 800, 900 yards or even 630 yards. It's more of an observational tool for scanning, for trying to collect information and see what's out there. So that's kind of cool that you have a budget option there. It works. It does have one more trick I haven't talked about just yet, and it has a magnet built into it. A really strong magnet, and somehow it doesn't mess with the calibration of the tools inside. The instruments still work. Now, the reason that matters is not so I can stick my heavy folding knife on it. It's actually because if you're, I think, golfing, or you're in maybe some sort of application where you have maybe a metal hunting blind, like I have a metal hunting blind out on that part of my property, I can actually stick this to the side of the blind and set it there, and then grab it when it's time to use it, and then set it back. I don't have to have it on me all the time. You could set it on the side of maybe your golf cart, or you have a metal roof, or just something like a car. I can see some application there where it actually makes sense to have a magnet built into it. It's a cool feature. I haven't had a laser rangefinder that has one of those before, and I think it's probably more designed around the golfing application, but I can find ways where it might make sense in hunting as well. Pretty much anytime you have something metal to stick it to and set it down so your hand's free. So pretty cool. I like it. Small form factor. It's comfortable. It's got some ergonomics to it. It's got a little stippling and grip. The body seems resilient enough. I did drop it once and it's not broken, so I'm happy enough to see that. It does not have a 1/4-inch thread on the bottom, so it's not something you're gonna mount on a tripod unless you have specialized gear like I do. You could check out LuxGun if you want, or Sunway Photo. They have these adapters that are ARCA adapters to hold a laser rangefinder that doesn't have the 1/4-inch footprint underneath, and it'll fit these just fine. So that's another option if you're looking to keep it static somewhere, or you don't want to have to hold on to it and you need steadiness. A tool like this can go a long ways. But I want to say thank you to KOKVP for sending this out. This is an interesting laser rangefinder option. Price is pretty efficient, and I do think it's going to be accurate within a few hundred yards. It's going to help you make a more accurate kill or shot on your target, whatever it is, and whether it's low light, dark colors, light colors. I have not had issues with reflections or laser beam diffraction or anything like that where I can't get good reads. It actually seems to be pretty consistent. And for the price point nowadays, you really can't complain. These are not hard to pick up. It's not hard to save up for one of these, and it'll help you and improve your shooting experience. So I recommend find a laser rangefinder that you like. If this fits the bill, then check this one out. And I'll go ahead and link in the description, maybe a couple other videos or some other content that might be useful, some links that would get you on the right page, start looking at stuff like this.